Channel news. Okay, it's middle of winter, or supposedly. It's been warmer than usual, but they say it's going to get colder than usual in the next few weeks. We'll see. All the snow has melted, and there's quite a bit of water running through the river. Snow melt from previous snows. Okay, anyways, my name is Patrick. The channel name is Jack Crafty. You can call me Jack, though. Everyone seems to call me either Jack or Patrick. Doesn't matter. I'm 62 years old. I've got 6 children. I'm no longer married. I live in Vermont, and I'm very happy. When I'm not doing stressful things on video. Yeah. When I do stressful things on video during the sweat stage, I'm not happy. Usually. Yeah. Sometimes I am, because I'm talking smack at the same time. That helps. If you're not used to people talking smack while they're napping, you may have to tune into some other channel. I also do no-talk videos, and I will continue to do those. So you can just watch those. You can just type in Jack Crafty No Talk, and I have several of those that you don't have to listen to any yapping at all. Good timing. Yeah, around this time of day is when the sun starts going down. And it just went out down over the hill. The bell rang 4 times, so it's 4 o'clock. Sunset is around 4:20 or something. Anyways, what am I going to talk about this week? Or let's start the new year, maybe with some new stuff. The only thing new that I can promise, that I know I can fulfill, is to spend a little more extra time prepping for the videos. A little more prep time. And a little more editing. A little more messing with the thumbnails. A little more time spent in lecture videos, where I actually draw out stuff on a pad of paper or a drawing pad or something. Those take more time because, the lecture videos, because I have to review those and make sure they're correct. They're very difficult to get correct on the fly. Okay? So I've deleted several of those in an attempt to make good lecture videos. So after a while, I just said, this takes too much time. I'm not going to do any more of these. But I do have more time for those. I have more time to prep for videos. What is video prep? To get materials that I don't normally have on hand. Like arrow shaft and fletching materials and sinews and glues and paints and stuff. I've had several requests in the past month or so to do more arrow stuff. Native American reproductions. Okay? So that requires more prep, because I've got to get a lot of stuff together to show you how I haft the points, make the shafts, and put the feathers on. Now this is an Eastern style to fletch. Okay? That's a quartz. It's a vein quartz arrowhead stuck on with pine pitch. But it's pitch that has been, put next to a fire to get it purified, because, you melt it, then you strain it. But in the process of melting it, sometimes it gets a little toasty, so it turns dark. Okay? Toasty. And you add charcoal to it if you want. Or you can add some sort of other filler to make it more stiff. And the shaft is carved down. You don't just use a parallel shaft for a Native American arrow reproduction. None of them had parallel shafts. Okay, none of the Native American arrows before the introduction of dowels by the Europeans had parallel shafts. They all had some kind of taper, either with a reed. There's a natural taper in the reed. Usually it's thicker here where you insert the force shaft than it is at the nock, but I've seen it the other way too. Very rarely. And that sort of thing. This is also a reed arrow. Very long one. The main questions on the arrows is just how do you go about making them with stone tools or primitive tools? Because everyone knows how to make them with, modern knives and saws and sandpaper and all that. So that requires a lot of prep to make them with stone tools and using primitive methods like how do you heat the pitch when you don't have a pot or a cup or some sort of receptacle. You got to heat them on a dished stone or maybe even a flat stone. You got to heat the glues and mix the glues and grind up the ingredients if they're all too lumpy. How do you do all that stuff? And how do you keep it dry? Where do you work? Where do you work? Because can you work in the rain? Can you demonstrate how to make one of these things in the rain? Because up here, especially in the Northeast, we got lots of moisture. Yada, yada, yada. All that requires prep time to set up the environment where I can work in high humidity or rain under a primitive overhead cover of some sort using just a fire and that sort of thing. I do have more time to do prep for those sorts of videos, so there's going to be at least one or two in the coming year like that. I'm hoping there's going to be a lot more than that. Okay. Let's see, what else? Yeah, a lot more yapping, and I will do the no talk videos as well. I personally like the no talk videos. Hold on. The tripod is blowing over in the wind. Hold on. Is that good? No? Yes? It's a little lopsided now. All right, so I don't know where I was, so I'm going to change the channel because my brain already changed the channel. This is it's not a soup. It is a hot cocoa. No sugar though, okay? Yeah, it's good. It's this Hershey's Cocoa Special Dark 100% cacao. It is not as good as coffee, but it has that chocolatey taste. And if I need caffeine, I just take a caffeine pill. This is not as or nearly as acidic as coffee, so I can deal with this. Yeah. Now, the thing I don't like about cacao is it has a lot of oxalate. Oxalates are not good for your kidneys. And as you get older, you got to worry about that stuff. Okay. But I do have it on occasion, especially in winter. How much is on occasion? Once a week. When I do my update videos or my news videos, channel news. I didn't do one last week, did I? I don't think. I should make a one that's twice as long this week, but I think this one's actually going to be shorter than all the rest. Yeah, until I can think of something interesting to do every week for news. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, what else is coming up? Just all the back orders. I've only got through 25% of my list. And not even that much on the requests for different things on video. I got a long list of things that people have asked me over this past year, to do on video. I got it right here. I do have it. I spent time this week looking for all my stuff, all my written down notes in different locations. The bad part about ADHD is it likes to place things in various safe spots. And there's more than one safe spot. So I got to look through a lot of different areas through all the safe spots that, you put stuff so that it remains safe, but you end up always forgetting where one of the safe spots is, and it is too safe. Not even I can mess with it. But I think I found all my safe spots, and I got all my notes together. Yeah. And I'm thinking of working just one particular material each week. That way I don't have to have boxes and boxes of different materials and pick one here and there. Because my shop gets very cluttered. That's like a 7-foot by 7-foot shop back there, this little thing. It's a plastic 7-foot by 7-foot shop. I will be building another shop back here. Actually, 2 separate buildings back here. Eventually. And they're going to be 10 by 10 or 12 by 12. Yeah, so that I can put up shelving all the way around on the inside, 360, and still have room in the middle to do my stuff. Why do I need so much shelving? Because of the storage of materials. Yeah, I'm planning on using more materials, and I don't want to have to keep going to a storage unit to get my materials and coming back to the house. Right now, I got most of my stuff in a storage unit, so I can keep that free of all my other stuff. But it does tend to discourage me from doing other types of videos, like working with sinew and leather and how to tan hides or process rawhide, making rawhide items, making quivers in addition to bows and stuff. All that stuff requires space to store all that equipment and not equipment, but materials. Yeah. And I have gift boxes that I get that I got to store in a very organized way, or as organized as possible so that I don't lose this stuff. Right now it's semi-organized because I tend to stack, and the stuff at the bottom of my stacks doesn't get any attention. So that's the problem. Yeah. Okay. So the beginnings of the weeks, I'm doing mainly bi-facing. So you may see mostly bi-facing videos, which reminds me, I got to finish up this bi-face of Novaculite. I messed up a spot on this, right there where my index finger is. That's almost impossible to get out. Okay? So I may just leave that in and then thin the rest of the bi-face down and offer it for sale in the auction. But someone inevitably said, "Oh, I can't wait to see how you get that out." Yeah. I might not get it out. It's extremely difficult to do it. By flaking, I either have to take this edge down all the way to that defect and then chip it out, or I have to reduce the other side and try to send a flake in from the other side. I can send a flake in from the other side theoretically by removing less of the opposite edge to build that up to run a big flake, but I run the chance of breaking the whole thing. If I just grind, or not grind, if I can just chip and then grind this side all the way up to the face of that obstacle, I could take that off easily. But I lose a 1/4 inch. Here I can lose about 1/8 of an inch and shoot a flake from the other side. But again, I run the risk of creating a land bridge and or breaking it in half, because it's right where it shouldn't be, right there. It's almost in the middle. And then I got to finish this one up too. This is a raw piece of Georgia Church Swirl. I'm wondering if I should just use this as a tool back here for chopping wood. We'll see. I might not sell that one. How do you use that for chopping wood? I thought these were like dance plates and stuff. Yeah, dancing. No. I mean, I suppose some of them were, but you can use those for chopping wood. I'll show you later. Yeah. I got to prepare. It's one of those things that requires a lot of prep time. Okay? I think someone's listening to me. I'm going to whisper. No, I'm not going to whisper. All right. Yeah, lecture videos. I want to do drawing videos where I do dimension drawings. I want to do reproduction drawings of my interpretation of a reproduction. And I need to also make videos where I go from napping to hafting to shooting. Yeah, the complete life cycle of the Arrowhead. Raw material, napping, hafting, shooting, looking at the result. That kind of video requires a lot of prep. But I'll be able to do those now since I have more time. Okay, and then now my to-do list. I got like 6 pages. And then I got the back orders, which are like another 6 full pages. And then I have philosophy notes. I'm not going to go into too much philosophy. Although I will read you something I was thinking about while I was driving around the other day. Because I had to do a lot of errands. Everything has been closed for the holidays. Every time I want to go do something, it's closed. So I've been doing a lot of errands and driving around. Anyway, I think of stuff when I'm driving. And, there's a saying about insanity, that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Well, if that's the case, then this whole channel is devoted to insanity, because I'm showing you how to do something over and over again until you get different results. So, in fact, that's not insanity. That is called practice. That is called skill development. And the people who are insane don't understand that. They don't like skill development or a change for the better after doing everything the same over and over again until you get different results. All right, so I got a little poem I wrote about insanity. Okay? What it really is. All right. Insanity is the same old song. It will double down when proven wrong. It will not repent. It will not relent. It will not stop denying truth until its life is spent. That's insanity. Okay. Let's move on. Questions. And this time I'm going to ask questions instead of having to remember what people ask me. Okay? I'm going to ask some questions, and then I'll try to answer my own question. What was used for glue on arrowheads? True arrow points, for arrows, not darts or spears or knives, but arrowheads. Well, first of all, what is the evidence? What do we have for evidence? What we have for evidence is hot melt pitch and asphaltum and any combination thereof. Do we have evidence for poop in the mix? No. Do we have evidence for charcoal in the mix? No. We have evidence for charcoal residue on arrowheads. We have evidence for animal remains like hair and maybe some poop on arrowheads. But within the glue mix, as far as I know, we have no evidence for what people use today as a primitive glue mix, which is poop or scat or charcoal. Okay? So as far as I know, glues for arrowheads were hot melt types of resins or pitch. There are water-based resins from trees that can be melted and they will harden up when cool. But they also dissolve with water. They're also water soluble. Pine pitch is not water soluble, okay? But both of those were used for attaching arrowheads to shafts. And also asphaltum, or in any mix of those three. And it usually was a mix of ingredients. Okay? Sometimes a pigment was added to the glue for purposes of color and not consistency. All right? Okay. I will correct myself if I'm wrong on that thing, but that's my past research. Oh, that's the result of my past research. Okay? So I'm telling you what I have found evidence for. Okay. What was used for poison, if any, on Native American arrowheads? For arrows. Well, usually it's a combination of something and rattlesnake venom. And the something can be all kinds of different stuff, but it's usually a base of rattlesnake venom. And wherever they had rattlesnakes, there was a prolific use of poison. That's what the evidence suggests. Now, if your area didn't have rattlesnakes, which is rare back in the day, then you probably didn't use poisons that much. You would try to find something else. But usually, the easiest thing to do would be to use rattlesnake venom. I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, certain insects can be used as poison. You grind them up, but I haven't looked into that very much as far as the type of insects that can be used. But insects and certain creatures from the ground can be used for poison. Okay. Oh, it's starting to get cold like this. I think I saw some sleet or snowflakes too. All right. How do you know if an artifact is a spear tip, an arrowhead for an arrow, or a little dart point, or a knife? Okay. Very good question, because we don't know. Unless we know the date. Okay, recent artifacts, like within the past 2,000 years, are usually points for arrows, and they're small. But that doesn't mean much, because there are points that are thousands and thousands of years old that are very small as well, that could fit on arrows. The best way I've found, again with my research and the evidence I've seen, is to measure the width of the neck of the stem. Some stems have notches, some do not. You find out where the point was hafted, that's the stem, and you measure across. And whether it has notches or not, it still has a neck, and usually the neck has a slight constriction. If it doesn't have notches, it usually has a slight constriction, or it has little shoulders instead of notches. The blade goes down and it cuts in a little bit, and then it goes down the stem, so you have a distinctive stem right across the let's say the thinnest area. That's the neck. Right across the most narrow portion of the stem is the neck. When you measure that, I've come up with a formula. If it's 3/4 of an inch wide or more, it's usually a knife. Less than that is some sort of projectile. Okay? But it can vary. I've seen actual artifacts that are projectile points because of the impact damage as evidence. They are projectile points, and the neck is wider than 3/4, maybe like 7/8 or something. But in the majority of cases, the ones that I've measured, from photographs and from actual artifacts that I've handled and looked at, 3/4 of an inch or less, it's a projectile point. More than 3/4 of an inch, or let's say starting at an inch or more, it's a knife. Now, what about clovis? Yeah, a lot of clovises were used for knives. And clovises were not always big, they're small too. Okay? But yeah, you can use a handheld spear as a projectile as well. So perhaps clovis was a hybrid. You could either toss the dart or hold the dart, and it becomes a spear. And you might even have an atlatl that'll shoot the same thing. So you can shoot the clovis projectile. You can use the clovis hafted item in 3 ways, possibly, because of its size and versatility. The same item can be thrown with a atlatl, or tossed by the hand, or held by the hand and used as a thrusting weapon. Okay, that's one of the exceptions to the general rule of the 3/4 inch width of the neck, okay? There are other points that are that versatile as well, but that's just an example. Okay, how do you know if it's ceremonial or not? Another good question, because there's no way of knowing for sure. But with the evidence and with all of the signs surrounding these artifacts when they're found, it appears that ceremonial pieces usually require some sort of sacrifice. Okay, either they're broken intentionally, which is literally sacrificing that particular point for a gift or an offering, or it requires you to sacrifice something to make it, like your time, your energy, in excess to a degree that you're actually sacrificing yourself. Not in a normal sense where you have to do it for survival. This goes beyond survival. So if you're exerting some sort of effort or some sort of thing beyond the normal that causes you to sacrifice, it shows up in the Flintknapping. So in that case, you can have an educated basis for a guess that is a ceremonial item. Sacrifice is an extremely important element in ceremony. Okay? All right. It also has to do with the quality of the item or the material itself. If you have to sacrifice a lot of your time to gather a special material from a quarry far away or from a special site, that is also a form of sacrifice because it's rare and you're offering something rare. And it takes time to go find it and chip around maybe to find the highest quality piece. That sort of thing. That's more than what you would normally do in the course of making such an item. Okay. All right, so my mouth is starting to freeze. So I got to wrap this up. Yeah. Some people say, oh, that's good because I'm not learning nothing. I just got you on because I'm scrolling through and then I see nature, so I just stop and watch nature. Some people look for the squirrels and stuff back here. Yeah, well, I think there was some running back around here earlier. I do put out food and stuff, but they're not going to show up for the video exactly on time. No. They got their mind of their own. Oh, I saw 2 possums last night. The weather was pretty good last night. They came out and one was big and fat, and the other one must have been one of the younger ones because it was like half the size. So there's 2 of them that come out. I have a little bowl of cat food I leave out for my friend, my cat friend, but everyone else comes in and takes some of them, takes some cat food too. Those moochers. Little possum moochers, they like cat food. And I think the raccoons do too, but more the possums, they will eat the cat food. And of course, there's a bunch of other stray cats that are now coming around. Oh well. Okay, so that's it for today's news. I will try to do videos tonight. And I will try to do more than 1 video per day. Yeah, because now I have more time. Or I'll just spend more time in prep and only do 1 video. Yeah. I will do more videos with points like this where it takes a long time to make them. And it takes a lot of persnickety napping and same old over and over again as far as the flaking goes. Very similar flaking all the way down the blade. Because see how consistent the blade width is? It's the same kind of flaking all the way down. And it's done that way on purpose. When you see a point that's very narrow, it doesn't have to be narrow, but parallel-sided, they do that so that each flake removal is exactly the same as the one before. It makes it a little bit easier to actually finish the point in the finishing stages, I found out. Okay? I think that's it. yeah, that's everything I wanted to cover, except for I did want to go over specific projects that I'm working on, but it's probably better that I don't because I don't have all the stuff set up yet. Yeah, unfortunately. This month is going to be a little bit busy because I've got to make a transition to taking care of all the stuff needed for this house. So I'll be interrupted from time to time, but after this month should be smooth sailing. Okay? All right. There you go. That's it.